Welcome to the Roadster Rumble. Tonight, round number 7 from Mount Panorama is the final round of their series. We're going straight down to the grid for this first of 2 races tonight, kicking off what has been a great season. Big sorry about last week, couldn't make it, had work commitments, but we're here live tonight, and Brendan Hobson has put it on pole position with Jack Boy starting alongside him, Wooten and Dutch. Formidable opponents there on the second row of the grid with Moroz, Canto, Seeger and Gordon, Martindale and Henry Fenton running out your top 10 as they will load in here and we'll get underway shortly. I think a bit of a driver's briefing just about to get underway in the background, so welcome aboard. We'll go through the rest of the grid as well with Harrison there, Logan starting from 12th. That's a good qualifying position for Keithy Boy tonight as we head across to the next round of drivers. Paradiso with Baker. Neville Mills, I think a brand new driver tonight, 15th on the grid. Good job with Cuthbertson alongside him. Cicerero out of 17th with Greg Holmes out of 18th, and it's Connors, Linus, Ellison, Hodgetts, your top 22. Nankara and Pretzel round at the top 24. 25th on the grid will be Andrew Roberts with Rodkin, Harrison, St John, Losh, Boydie and Walker to round out the grid for tonight's smallish field of 31 drivers to finish off this final race at Mount Panorama. What a great place. Let's get rid of the music. Let's crank up the sound of these Mazda MX-5s. The Roadster Rumble. G'day Graham and g'day everyone that's just tuning in. Get some comments happening tonight and we'll try and get you involved in what is my second last broadcast of the year. Oh my god, that was loud. My second last broadcast of the year, and looking forward to Christmas and some time away from the sim. Maybe I think I might bolt my steering wheel back on and actually have a go. It's been about 3 years. Been too busy with the broadcasting. I think it's time I get on there and actually have a crack some sim racing. That'd be pretty cool. Right, so just waiting on the final drivers to grid up now. We've got everyone except Loshi on board. The revs will start to rise shortly and we'll get underway with the start of this race. We wait for the green light, full revs, full beans. Let's get underway. 30 minutes on the clock for this first of 2 races. Good start at the front, pretty even across the board. Hobson heads down towards turn 1. And he will go through in the lead. There goes Hobson with Boyd, Wooten, Dutch, Moroz, Canto, Seeger, all held position in the top 7. Martindale goes through in 8th, up 1 position. Paradiso has also made up 1. The brand new driver Neville Mell has also made up a position, but Hobbo leads us up Mountain Straight for the first time, 0.2 of a second with his good friend Jack Boyd. Well, not sure about good friend, constant battle partner in this series. Jack Boyd, I'm sure these guys get along like a house on fire. They wheel to wheel pretty much every time we see them out on the racetrack, and Hobson heads up towards the cutting. It's a long climb up a big mountain for an underpowered sports car, and Hobbo turns it in. He don't have plenty of laps under his belt, Brenton Hobson, around this joint, that's for sure. And as he heads up towards Reed Park now, we get a good shot as they come up over the crest of the hill, right up onto the ripple strip, and just being nice and sensible. They're playing this out. They know it's a 30-minute race. No point throwing it away too early tonight across the middle grade for the first time. And they get up towards the top of the mountain. You can see Hobbo leaning on the tyres already, and now this beautiful drop down through the S's towards the dipper. So you can just see the car get a little bit light. They've already pulled away from Andrew Dutch in 4th place. There goes Dutch, one wheel up in the air as it drops down through the dipper, and Hobson will get onto Conrad Straight for the first time out in front, and there is your gap, 0.3 of a second. Good exit from Jack Boyd, gets right out towards the fence, and here we go. It is on. Adam Ryan in the house says keen to see if Martindale and Hodgetts can have a bit of a battle. There's some friend competition there. Look at the draft though from Boyd. We'll have a look at that for you. Make sure you keep in touch on the chat tonight. Let me know who you're here to see, and we'll constantly go flicking between your favourite drivers. So the run down into this very fast turn right. There it is. Just kiss the apex. Think about the braking zone, and Jack Boyd looks like he might lead us down towards the line for the first time in this first 30-lap race. So quite a long lap in an MX-5, over 2.5 minutes. Got a car off the track, but we'll have a quick look at Martindale. There he is in the background, ahead of Henry Fenton. So they both made up a position in this opening lap. Good start for them. Tyson Gordon has dropped a couple down to 10th place as well. And trying to see where Hodgetts is in comparison. He's oh, that's dropping. It's Connors actually. Connors has just looped around and does a nice little pirouette and gets going again, but that's dropped him all the way down to 26th place. So Cody Harrison, I think, has also spun. There's a heap of smoke down there at turn 1, and that's why the Pro Karts race centre car has spun the car right around. Let's have a quick look at that on an action replay. And did he do it by himself in these early stages of the race? Here it is. So down towards the first corner, wheel to wheel with the 54. Then he 54 gets out of it, and yep, the back end goes around, and good avoidance by the 54 there to not go slamming straight into the door. That was Tyson Gordon. Did a great job. So good reflexes, and all in all, we get away without too much damage there, except for a little bit of tyre smoke and a little bit of hurt pride. There's Hobson back in the lead now. It didn't take long. Heads up over the top. Brad Wooten once again singing P3. He is throughout this season been super fast, and he's challenging already. The top 3 have gapped Moz in 4th place by over 3 seconds now, so they're pulling away this little battle pack, and they won't be complaining about that. They'll enjoy this. There's the podium up for grabs right here on your screen. Renton Hobson, who's had a few podiums this season. One more would definitely be on the cards tonight. In fact, he's just pulled out 0.7 of a second on this lap. He's had a great run across the top of the mountain there. He's got some good flow, good style. It's all about keeping the flow up in these cars, not scrubbing off any sort of momentum. Big thanks to Graham there for some stars as well. It's good to see stars back on Facebook. Appreciate the support, and I'm not sure what they went for a while. They barred us for a little bit. Thought they got into cahoots with YouTube for a while there, and they didn't like us anymore. But anyway, it's all happening again with Facebook Gaming. Thank you. So the top 3 getting on with it. Let's go back further to Matty T, who's fighting with Scott Baker.
All yours, Henry.
And this is the battle over 12th place. Keith Logan's ahead of them. So now Southern Cross Racing, we've got 2 drivers together here. Keith Logan in 11th, then Matt Baker, who's under pressure here from Matty T and also Tyson Gordon. And right up on 2 wheels. Let's jump on board here with the Group B driver, who lost 6 positions at the start, Tyson Gordon. Dropped fair way back, but he's now trying to get himself back into this. So further back behind them, you got Cuthbertson. He's chasing down Greg Holmes at the moment. Greg's in 15th place, has made up 3 spots. This little battle is getting feisty with Philip Paradiso on the back as well. Glenn Boyd has made up 12 positions already, now up into 18th place. So Glenn, I'm sure if he didn't qualify tonight, but he's well out of position to where he would normally be in the 38 car. He's ahead of Darren Linus, and then Rodkin is behind him. Further back, you can just see Hodgetts and Anthony Connors, who had that earlier spin. So Curtis Hodgetts all the way back in 22nd place. Hasn't made up a position yet. Long way to go in the race, so only 7 minutes in this first 30-minute race. Behind them, you got Ray Harrison fighting with St. John, Walker, Harrison, and then Graham Ellis further back. He's got a little battle going on with Andrew Roberts. So even right back here in 28th place, there's little mates battles going on between them. Ellis, Roberts, and then Nancarrot around at the top 30. Not sure what happened to Wayne Losh. He hasn't made the grid tonight, and unfortunately, he's not in this race. Back with the lead pack as they come down into the chase. Hobson leads by a whisker, so that gap of 0.7 of a second is now being eaten away. And the gap's back to 0.2 of a second as we just watch the top 2 really fight wheel to wheel, and Wooten in behind probably thinking, I'm just going to watch this. I'm going to watch how this unfolds here and be ready to pick up the scraps if anything comes of it. But the 2 in front, pretty tighter. You don't generally see them make any mistakes at all. There's a good look at the gap between third place and all the way back to Moz. As once again, Boyd having a look here at Hobson. He's going to pull out and get alongside him, which he does. And this should be job done. Boyd back into the lead of the race. Almost some contact there as he took a sharp trajectory into the corner. Hobbo almost into the back of him. Wooten in behind is caught right up. The top three now separated by just on 0.3 of a second. Further back, there is Moz. Behind him, Canto, Seegers also in the mix. There's Damien, WBT Racing. He'll be super happy, I think, with this season 7, and his racing efforts. Right now he's got Andrew Dutch all over him though. Dutch might just try and send a little one over the top of the mountain here. We're right on board with Seeger. Looking backwards. Popping and burbling away. You can just hear the exhaust note there on Seeger's car as he gets down through the S's. Carries a little bit more speed, I think, than Dutch that time. Pulled away slightly, then under brakes. Once again, Dutch getting closer. Then you got Henry Fenson, a couple of positions back from him. Martindale still holding the position he started the race in, and then it's the man on debut. Hasn't got a livery on the car yet. Neville Mel. He's the number 73 tonight, so keep an eye on his progress. He started 15th already, up into the top 10 for the first time tonight. So he'll be pretty stoked with that on debut. Good looking little race car once again as he tips it in. Top speed, a couple of 100 kilometres an hour. Not as fast as we're used to seeing supercars or GT3 cars, but nonetheless good fun around the mountain. There's just see the little corrections he's being put into the wheel there just to try and get that car to behave itself and turn in nicely. Shout out to Mark Foster as well. As we've got another car off the track. It's Hodges going for a wild ride there. Hodges coming back on for Optimal Gaming and heading straight towards the pit lane. So there's some damage there to be fixed. He has gone in and doesn't really attack the entry either, just taking a nice slow entry into the pits, possibly with some damage on board that car. Riding on board with Andrew Dutch, Grindtech Floor Racing, on the back of Damien Seeger, and you can see Dylan Canto just up the road too. We saw one of them brush the fence down near the metal grate. That's how hard they are pushing, and this onboard shot just gives a good indication of that. He's right out and all the while trying to avoid any contact. He needs to get himself now hot up onto the bumper bar of Seeger in front. He lost those couple of positions at the start, did Andrew Dutch, who's just disappeared off my screen. Hopefully he's coming back. He is back. There you go. So we might go with Seeger for a moment here. I think Dutchy might have not the best internet connection. We'll keep with this for a moment. Monitor this gap. So Seeger can see him in the mirrors. And he's staying right with him at the moment. You can see Fenson just further back. There is Henry. He's also closed that margin down, I think, in the last lap. He took about a 10th out of Dutch on the previous lap. He's got to try and close that 1.7 second gap, get himself one step further up the road. side by side here, Pressel and Connors. Connors just goes through right out to the edge of the racetrack, and Greg Holmes, I think, might be off the track too. He is. He rejoins 17th place just in front of him. There's a good little battle going on. They're leaning on each other. There's a bit of rubbing of guards there, and Paradiso goes through, but I think he might run that wide. Does he? Alongside him, here goes Cuthbertson along the pit straight, gets himself back up into 13th place. So that was a good little fight back. Got the position taken off him, and straight away gets back into it and gets it back. So good fight. At the top of the order, the top three, Boyd, Hobson and Wooten. I'd love to see Brad Wooten just be a little bit more attacking here and maybe take it to both of these wily competitors in front of him, because Brad Wooten, we know, is quick. Still running that Red Bull livery. Let's jump on board with him. This should be a chance to maybe just line something up here for Conrod. We're halfway through the race now. There is fuel stops during this race, so at some point they're going to have to go in, take some fuel on board. We'll see. So Hobson with lap 2 was still the fastest lap of the race, a 2:34.755. As the tyres wear off a bit here, they do drop a bit of time. So 2:34.8, the best for your race leader Jack Boyd. Did 2:36.1 last time around, so about a little bit over 1.5, nearly tenths, sorry, 1.5 seconds slower on the previous lap. Was Jack Boyd. So while these three fight at the front, we'll keep an eye on what's going on just in the background, because Dylan Canto is still with Andrew Dutch here, and the other car is Seeger, who's holding on. Now there's some pit stops going on here. That's Canto decides to get out of the mix and get his stop done right at the halfway point. Bit of an awkward entry there. Did he loop that around? No, he didn't. He kept it facing the right direction, but that would have lost him probably a couple of seconds there at least, as Fenson also comes into the pit lane. So Fenson closed that margin right up by a good pit entry, whereas Canto absolutely made a meal of it, unfortunately. So the Australian grandstand release, 6th of December for the Australian Grand Prix. Just announced today. Pretty exciting that it's already coming around so quickly. Not long to go till F1 cars come back down under. So yeah, tomorrow the new grandstand releases and park passes go on sale for that Australian Formula 1 Grand Prix. So get down, get into it, support Aussie motorsport. Even though it's international, we want to support it and keep that race growing. It's such a cool weekend. That said, I'd love to see it back in Adelaide one day, just for a little bit. We all miss Adelaide, surely. Although I didn't see any of the supercars on the weekend. Don't blame me now. I had a busy weekend, but yeah. A couple of comments coming through. Mark Foster says, thanks for the first class stream this season. Hope to see you next season. Thanks, buddy. It's been good fun. When I couldn't make it, I do apologise for last week. Even tonight, I had some things come up a minute ago, and I went, oh, you know what? I'm just going to switch the phone on silent, and I'll deal with it after the broadcast. We'll do our best to get through this one without interruptions. But Linus here, Greg Holmes, who was off the track a minute ago, has found some red hot speed now and gets right up onto the back of Linus once again in the Frog Leap racing car. So we're on board with Greg Holmes, Extreme Racing now, puts this series together, does a mega amount of work. He's got a much better line and exit. He should be able to line up Linus on this Conrod straight, so he got a way better run through Forest Elbow. He's just got to get behind him, tuck in, get that slipstream. Right now he's a little bit off centre, that's better. See if he can close up. Is he carrying a little bit of front damage on that car? No, it's all good. Here he goes. So Holmes, lucky 13. Dutch and Seeger in the pits, by the way. Keeping an eye on their times, and into the pits goes Darren Linus. Late dive, trying to get it stopped. She can't. He goes off the track too, locks up slightly, and gets it through that little S. It's a nasty little S if you get that wrong into the pit lane. So easy to just stick it in the fence, which I've done a few times. Big thanks to all the sponsors, of course, in the Roadster Rumble. You can see the top right-hand side of the screen, that rotating banner of all the great sponsors that get behind this series. Obviously without them it wouldn't be possible, so thanks to them, and make sure you support any of those businesses if you get a chance to do so. Back with this top three battle now, Boyd, Hobson and Wooten. Boyd seems to have the measure of Hobson. He's got to be careful he times this final lap. I don't think anyone will want to lead onto the last lap. I think you'll find that there might be a little bit of gamesmanship towards the end of this first race, and that will play into the second race too. They'll know what to expect in the second time round. So looking at that gap now, back to fourth. There goes the top three. There's Moz back in fourth. The gap now almost 10 seconds as the top three peel into the pit lane. Just goes to show they're in a different caliber. Those top three, Boyd, Hobson and Wooten, lapping in the best is a 2:34. I can tell you the next best time after the top three is in the 36s. So it just goes to show how quick they are. And Glenn Boyd's done well too, up 23 spots into 7th now, so he's fought his way through this field of cars, kept his nose clean by the looks of it. I'm just trying to see if that car's got any damage at all. It looks really good. So Boyd set himself up well with that terrible qualifying to get a good run here in race 1. He'll progress over into race 2, and he'll get another shot at maybe a podium tonight. So I like that determination from Glenn Boyd here to push on. The only car yet to stop in the top 5 is Ant Cuthbertson. Now, I don't think he can go no-stop strategy on this race. So Ant, obviously thinking he can get at least one more lap out of this tank of fuel, up 12 spots. Unfortunately for him, all those 12-spot gains will probably disappear once he jumps into the pit lane, because everyone's taking about 10 to 12 seconds to fuel up. And the transit time through the pit lane around that 50-second mark, so you do lose some decent track position when you're everyone else is at full noise on a green flag, unfortunately. Big thanks to Anthony though, shared the stream tonight, so give him some extra airtime there as he fights with another man who shared the stream, Greg Holmes. 13th and 14th place, these two. Graham Ellis as well shared the stream. Thanks, Graham. As Connors fires it up the mountain again. I tell you what, the first time I drove up here in a road car. I couldn't believe how steep this part of the racetrack is. And it's any wonder, you can just hear that gear change. It's actually really struggling to climb up the rev range there and push over the top of this mountain. So Mundale's just said to Neville, all yours down the straight. So that's a bit of courteous driving there. And he'll probably bleed out the throttle here a little bit and let our newbie, our man on debut, Neville, go past and take that position away. Which, there you go, some nice clean driving, lets him through. And Neville gets up into 11th place. So 4 positions he's made up on debut here for the Roadster Rumble. We'll get him a livery one of these days, that's for sure. There he is. So about 5 minutes to go. We should get just 2 more laps. Actually, we'll probably get a 3rd lap. See how it's going to time out here, because Hobson just going up Mountain Straight, so we're going to get at least 3 more laps in this race, including the one we're on. You can just see Wooten having a real shot at Boyd for the first time tonight, and Jack Boyd stays in P2. But Brad Wooten, that little fight they've just had there has helped Hobbo eke out a 1.3 second lead. So that's worked well in his court, that's for sure. We go back to Connors fighting here with Keith Logan. This is over 14th place. Adam Ryan says, what a gentleman old Martindale is. He's a gentleman. What Billy has done, he's let Neville through, but he's right on his tail now, getting a nice little helping of slipstream. So pretty smart driving. If you think someone's quicker than you, let them through, but then let them tow you along and hopefully bring you closer to the back of Andrew Dutch as well, because Dutch is just up the road. There he is. He's with Boyd, so all of a sudden you find yourself on the back of Dutch. You could get yourself into the top 8, possibly even the top 7. Though Henry Fenton about 5 seconds up the road from Glenn Boyd. So all that moving forward, cutting through the pack has cost him dearly at the back end of the race, because he's not going to be able to catch, I don't think, Henry Fenton and progress any further through the order. It's got to be said though, it's a great drive, 22 positions. Try and work out what happened in qualifying to mean that he missed setting a qualifying time, but gee whiz, he's driven well tonight to, 1, get through the field, but not also take any damage. Generally at a racetrack like this, when you try and sneak through the field from the back, you're going to get a little bit of damage. You're going to get a fair bit of damage, in fact. So with 2 to go, just having a look at this gap. 13 seconds between 3rd place and 4th place. Hobson weaving, trying to break the toe here for Boyd, Wooten and Moroz. So there he is, all the way back there, 13.2 off the lead. But holding on to a pretty secure 4th at the moment, because Seeger's further back, about 4 seconds further back in the field. Then it's another 4 seconds back to Canto, who's got Fenton about a second behind him. Then Boyd, 4 seconds back. It's just taken a second or so out of the car in front. That last lap, in fact, he took 1.5 seconds out of Fenton on the previous lap to Glenn Boyd. And you got Dutch further back again, then Neville, who's about 2 seconds behind Andrew Dutch in 10th place. But top 10 in the first race on debut. He's got to be stoked with that. And Progressive Grid means next race he might even be able to get higher up. That's pretty incredible. So good job. 5 positions for Neville on debut tonight. Back in the lead though, Hobson 0.8 of a second. We'll get the white flag at the end of this lap as he dances that car down through the S. It's beautiful to watch. Oh, man, the back end stepped out there as well. But it's a fine art to get this circuit right, and Hobson has got it right down to the wire. Flag will fall here. 1 lap to go for Brenton Hobson. Gap down to 4:10, so I think Jack Boyd knows what he's doing here. He's timed this well. It's been P2 for the final lap of the race, and I think by the time we get up to the top of Mountain Straight here, Boyd might be in a position to challenge. Or will he hold back and try and wait for that final run down Conrod? Because it's going to be a bit of cat and mouse between these two, that's for sure. And Wooten gets the best seat in the house. There's his view. So right now he needs to get behind Boyd, catch that slipstream. He's just in the middle at the moment. Now he's tucked in behind them both. He needs to try and get a beautiful run up the top of the mountain here and close right up onto the back of Boyd. He might even get a 2-for-1 deal down the main straight if he times this right. You can just hear how low the RPM is when they go up the mountain. Listen to this. Really struggling to build RPM in the gearing that they've been given for this one tonight. That's where momentum becomes so crucial. We'll stay with this battle. There's another good one between Cuthbertson, Linus and Baker, but we'll stay with the top 3 as they head across the mountain here. And Hobson, doesn't he look solid? He's pulled another couple of car lengths from Boyd. Like I said earlier in the lap, I think Boyd is playing this like a perfect symphony though. He knows exactly what to do. He knows how far back he needs to be. And I reckon come the run out of Forest Elbow shortly, he's going to send it and probably overtake Hobbo on the straight. Here we go. Jump on board here with Boyd. In fact, he almost stuck it in the wall there. He's back further than I thought he would be. 0.5 of a second, the gap. Wooten as well. Back a couple of tenths. He's actually closer to the back of Boyd than Boyd is to the back of Hobson. Hobson weaving, trying to break that toe, trying not to give any assistance at all to the other cars around him. Here they go, flat out towards the chase. Evenly spaced. It's Hobson. Will he go defensive? He doesn't. Boyd looks to the inside. Boyd for the big overtake. Sends it down the inside. Can he pull it up? There's contact. Here goes Brad Wooten, like I said, ready to pick up the pieces. Brad Wooten goes through. He's going to claim a victory here tonight, Wooten, as Hobbo in the background, all out of shape, gets it back on for P2. But Brad Wooten is going to take a win here at the mountain. He's got 1 corner to go. And I picked it. Wooten just had to stay in there, and he has taken out a win. Fantastic drive. Brad Wooten wins race 1 here tonight from Hobson and Boyd. Your top 3. 4th place will go to Moz, who comes through the final corner now. Moz will take P4 ahead of Seeger, who for WBT takes a nice P5 tonight. Dylan Canto, great drive as well, comes across the line 6 ahead of Fenson. And put your hands together for Glenn Boyd. There he is, up 22 spots into the top 8. Great drive by him. Dutchy will get 9th ahead of the man on debut. Neville Meal gets 10th place, top 10 finish on debut. Good job. Billy Martindale 11th ahead of Greg Holmes, who's fighting at home just ahead of Keith Logan here. And it's going to be Holmes who takes 12th, Logan 13th. Cuthbertson will come home 14th ahead of Linus. Baker, Gordon and Connors. I think someone's out of fuel there. Is that Anthony Connors? He tried to get through on minimal fuel, Connors. And there he is. You can just hear him Still got to climb the hill here and get to the line. Is there someone else coming? Yep, there is. There goes Bard Rodkin. Just sneaks past him on the line, I think. Rodkin beside, I think also out of fuel, but race 1, run and done. Nice effort. We'll come back shortly with some results and we'll get set then for race number 2. So race 1, run and done. We'll wait for the results to come up. We'll say good day to Brenton Hobson. Say, how's it out there, mate? That was an interesting end to the race.
That was good, wasn't it?
It was exciting as always, but mate, just talk us through that last run into the chase.
Oh, just went in there as hard as I could, and Jack went in there a little harder.
A little harder.
And yeah, it was good fun, but I just didn't quite have the gap I needed out of the pits to stay away from him, did I? So it was shaping up to be a good last lap.
It was great, man. And Brad obviously took home the pie. He was just sitting there watching you guys and ran a really good race, considering the spread between 3rd and 4th. Just goes to show he's right up there in a top class now, Brad Wooden, and he probably deserves a win too after that little bit of shenanigans at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. He's done a really good season, you know. He's very fast in these cars, so he's probably been a little unlucky not to get a win yet up to this point. I mean, I got him, moved him off the track out of the lead last week at Alton Park when he probably deserved one. So it's just rewards for him for the effort that he's put in. He's been really
quick. So final round tonight, obviously. You're going to start up there in, I think, what are you going to start, 3rd for this final race? No, 2nd, sorry. So any plan to try and just, what can you do to keep Jack behind?
Well, I kept him behind me in that race, technically speaking. But I mean, he's a hard dude to beat, isn't he? So I tried to save fuel in that race and undercut him in the stop. It almost worked. I don't know that he'll let me get away with that a second time around. So we'll see. There's really not much you can do in these cars. Like if you're gonna try and get a gap in them, the only way to do it is during the pit cycle, you know, and it's pretty hard to do. So unless you get a gap, it's going to be a good race to the end. There's no doubt about it. You just can't drive away from people in these cars. So I don't know. I don't mind the idea of a big 3-way battle, 3 wide into the chase on the last lap. What do you reckon?
I reckon that'd be pretty good. Yeah, that'd be good television. And mate, I think I say this every time we come to Bathurst in an MX-5. Not as quick as a supercar around here. What's the advantage of this car, or what's the disadvantage? What would you prefer?
I don't know necessarily the advantage or disadvantage, but I'll tell you what, they're a hell of a lot of fun, especially down the mountain. You just absolutely fling the thing around, and they're so good to drive, these Mazdas. I recommend anyone who wants to learn how to drive, like good racecraft in cars, spend some time in these things and Formula Vs, because you can really throw them around, and you've got to learn how to drive with a lot of momentum and keep your pace up in the mid-corner. And around a track like this...
Yep. Did we lose you there?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, very good. No, that's good words, man. And yeah, we watched you, the way you danced that thing down through the S's. It is exciting to watch. And what do you think of the new 86? Do you think that's going to be another great form in iRacing to learn on?
Oh, I mean, I hope so. They're a cool car. So, I mean, fingers crossed they're as good in the sim as they are in real life. And I think they'll be a great learning tool again.
Very good. All right, Hobbo, thanks, mate, for all your input this season. Hopefully talk to you on the podium at the end of race 2.
No worries, Luke. See you later.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Right, let's have a quick break before we get set for race number 2. Brenton Hobson out there doing a bit of an expression session now. Time to grab another beer, and we'll be back with you in 2 minutes. We'll just take a moment to run through the full results from race number 1. And we might do this in class this time around. So let's start with Group A, of course, our top drivers. And this is how it was. Wooten beat Hobbo. Boyd Moz was there 4th place. And I think Nankara, they're practicing a Van Gisbergen burnout. Canto, Boyd, Milon, Debut, Paradiso, Cicerero, and Losh, your top 11. They go to Group B then. This is how they finished their class, and it was a win in class for Henry Fenton. Andrew Dutch, P2, 5 seconds in between them. Martindale, P3. So the top 3 there quite spread, but look at the gap then. Back to Greg Holmes, 4th place, 29 seconds back up the road. And Keith Logan, 5th. Good job in class. A very close finish there with Holmes. And then it was Cuthbertson, Linus, Baker, Gordon, and Rodkin, your top 10 in the Group B. So there's your Group B contestants. Ray Harrison right at the end of that one. So just on, what do we got? A minute and a bit to go before we go back out and do race number 2. I told you Nankara was having a bit of fun. He's worked out how to rip the tyres off one of these. Done a pretty decent job as well. Good to see. We get set for race number 2, about to get underway now as we see Adam St. John's at the 2nd fastest time in this little warm-up session. And happy anniversary to Damo from the Southern Cross Racing boys. There you go, racing on his anniversary, very good. And Keith also saying, thank you Greg, Damo, Loshi and everyone else for the very enjoyable season. And it's good to see the drivers who have had a good time letting others know that they've enjoyed it, which is fantastic. This is the grid for race number 2 tonight, and Wooten will start from pole position ahead of Brenton Hobson, Jack Boyd, Moz, and it's Seeger, Canto, Fenson, Boyd, your top 8, Dutch, and Neville start your top 10, and then it's Martindale and Holmes off that 6th row of the grid. Keith Logan starts 13th with Cuthbertson, and it's Linus, Baker, Gordon, and Rodkin top 18, Connors and Pretzel your top 20. And we get off and go racing straight away. Not too much time to get into this. Let's get rid of the music. And nice short run in. The run down towards turn 1. Wooten, can he hang on? And stay ahead. He does for now. Look at them peel their way through at the start of this race. Single file. Good thinking as they head up Mountain Straight for the first time in race number 2. Once again, 30 minutes on the clock. 1 pit stop required. It is Wooten now under pressure from Boyd. And look at Hobson as well. I think giving a bit of bump draft here to Mr. Wooten in front, but it's not going to help him get Jack Boyd, who takes the lead. We've got a spin in the background. Oh, big crash in the background. Up against the wall. I think that was Roberts. He's made contact, I think, with Walker or Nankara, one of those cars, unfortunately involved. And now Baker, I think, has also put it in the fence. He is in the wall at turn 2. So Baker's got to be careful with the rejoin here. He drops all the way down the field. And some opening lap jitters here for a few of the drivers in this final race of the season, but Jack Boyd out in front. Once again, it's Wooten Hobson starting to pull away slightly from Moz. It's a bit of a repeat of what we saw in race 1. There's Seeger leading up Canto, and Glenn Boyd already making up a position. Remember, he made up 22 in the opening race. Now Glenn Boyd is on the charge again in race 2. Can he get himself up closer to Jack at the front? I tell you what, he's using all the racetrack and a little bit more, as we just saw there across the top of the mountain, using the grass in the runoff area. Luckily, keeping it nice and straight, absolutely skimming the fences. Down through the S's is Glenn Boyd. This is commitment plus a Seeger under pressure from Canto in front. Checking the mirrors, all is good. Jack Boyd leads us down corner for the first time. Here comes Hobbo out of the slipstream. We knew he'd be there or thereabouts, and Brenton Hobson about to fire it in. Check it out. Full speed. Will he send it down the inside on Boyd? No, he doesn't. He holds line for now. Boyd hangs on to the lead. Hobson, then Wooten. Moz has caught himself back up onto the back of P3 now. He needs to try and stay with him, unlike he did in race 1 where he dropped away and finished about 15 seconds off the lead. This time he needs to try and run with the assistance of the tow with Wooten and try and stay with Hobbo and Boyd by using that draft on these 2 big long straights, as Nankaro has just been practicing in the off break there, a little bit of sideways. Oh, and that was also Walker who just stuck it in the wall as well. So after all that practice, and not the safest rejoin there, as well as he reverses back onto the track. And Matty T also not starting this race, by the way, so we're not sure what happened to Loshi tonight. He's logged in but didn't start the race. And Matty T also out of this one early on. So freight train of cars here behind race leader Jack Boyd. In fact, this time the top 5 cars, just 1.4 seconds between them, so good job. Now with the KP Tech racing car, Philip Roses. So he's got Stephen Pretzel right behind him. There's Pretzel in the background. You can see behind Pretzel another battle. That's Rodkin and Ellis. Graham Ellis on the charge. He's up 3 spots already. There he is. And now trying to get past Rodkin. Let's ride on board with Ellis. Nice line through there, out towards the fence. Keep it off the fence, but go as close as you can now. As we head up through McPhillamy towards Skyline. Watch the way Ellis attacks this. He's on the inside there, so he just changed his entry a little bit there, which will cost him further down the S's. He just has to back off a little bit more. Drops it into the dipper. In fact, Rodkin in front. Oh, wow, that was close to the fence. Rodkin in front is a little bit all over the place at the moment. He needs to just try and get that line smoothened out. As in front of him, Pretzel was sideways. That gave a great exit of the corner there for Ellis. He's right now behind Rodkin. Meanwhile, back at the front, Boyd, who did the fastest opening lap, of course, leading the race. What does he do on lap 2? Crosses the line. Fastest lap goes to Wooten in P3. And then that's eclipsed by Seeger and then Canto, who takes the new fastest lap of the race. So they're definitely more bunched up this time around than race 1. It was Dylan Canto sitting in 6th place with the new fastest lap. Then there's a gap back to... well, Boyd's onto the back of that top 6 now, so the top 7 are bunched up, 3 seconds between them. Then you've got Neville up into 8th on debut. Great drive. He's got to be happy with that, joining a new series and working his way up through the order into a top 8. Could be even higher with this race, still 25 minutes to go. Vincent and Dutch fighting on. Martindale further back in a bit of a lonely race at the moment. Has to try and find a way to close that 1.2-second gap to Dutch. Otherwise, he's just going to be racing the clock tonight. You got Darren Linus wheel to wheel again. Cuthbertson, and then Harrison goes through behind him. It's Gordon, Tyson Gordon, trying to find a way past Cody Harrison. He's up 7 positions, so Cody in the Pro Karts race center car in front of this one we're on board with now. Moving forward very, very well indeed. So lap 4, will we see something different in the pit stop strategy? The final race tonight. We heard Hobbo in the break say that he tried to just gap Jack in the pits by coming in, doing a bit of an undercut. It didn't really work out. Will someone try and pit maybe the next lap around at the 11-minute mark rather than that 15 halfway through this half-hour race? As I just see on the timing screen, Glenn Boyd just ticked over the near fastest lap of the race with the 2-minute 34.7, so that's really quick. In fact, that's faster than 5 of the drivers in front of him. That's decent. In fact, it's faster than all of them, of course. So 6 drivers in front of him. Glenn Boyd is on the charge. He needs to try and find his way past Canto. That will get him a 6th place. If he gets Canto, you'd probably think he could get Seeger, because Seeger's just in front, only a car length in front of Canto. And then it's a matter of chasing down Moz, who Moz has been best of the rest really tonight, especially in race 1. No one could catch Boyd, Hobson and Wooten, but Moz was definitely out on his own P4, holding his own. So whilst I think Glenn can probably get past the 2 in front if he tries hard enough, I think Moz might be a different story. Further back behind them too, we've got a good battle down with Linus and Tyson Gordon. This is still going on. Taps NT racing car. Absolutely on the limit, out to the fence again. This corner always scares me. You can just see the way that Linus's, the back end of the car lifted up. It wanted to step out, and oh, he's gone really hot in there and into the fence. So that'll done some damage to Tyson Gordon's front right-hand side of the car. Pluck the wheel back a little bit, and that will feel awful to drive. I reckon he probably has a bit of right hand down. It looks pretty straight on that camera angle, but surely that's done some damage to this car. If you want to get involved in this Roadster Rumble, check it out. There's a Facebook link or a link to their group in the description. Check out the Roadster Rumble. Look it up if you need be, as Dutch does come into the pits now for an early stop. And get involved for 2023. Can you believe it's already 2023 coming up? Get involved in this series if you want to race in these MX-5s. And I've heard whispers that they might also be doing another series as well. So plenty of fun to be had. Join their Discord, get involved, and meet some great people to race alongside. battle I was talking about. Boyd can see Canto and Seeger in front. They're absolutely bolted together now, the three of these. They head up the top of the mountain. Boyd's just got to be careful he doesn't get tangled in their little fight in front. Just having a look then to the inside. Boyd was as well. Let's jump on board with him. I think he's going to make a move. Whether or not it's here, the elbow, or down the end of Conrod, he's just got to make it clean. He should be able to get a 2-for-1 deal if he's times this correctly. If he can get a really nice nifty run here out of Forest Elbow, just hold back, concentrate on your brake, and keep it straight. Now turn in and accelerate hard from there, right on the apex. As in front, Dylan Canto slaps the fence. So how good is he here? Can he close right up onto the back and overtake both of them under brakes into the chase? I can see Canto giving Seeger the hurry up. He's actually pushing on his rear bar there. Now he pulls out and they go wheel to wheel into the fastest point on this racetrack. Hold your breath. How is this going to end up? I'm sure in the background there, Boyd is just thinking, don't do it, don't do too wide. They don't. And Seeger still holds on to 5th place as Canto behind him, and they hold station. Martindale, meanwhile, all over the back of Henry Fenton. They got Greg Holmes almost inside the top 10. I was going to say inside the top 10. Almost inside the top 10, running in 11th place. So this is Martindale we're watching now, into the pits for both those drivers. So Fenton goes in as well, and Holmes, who's got Keith Logan giving him some pressure, they both go to the pits too. So 13 minutes into this race and we're having a pit party as they all go in. Someone who stayed out though was your race leader Jack Boyd, ahead of Brenton Hobson by 0.3 of a second. Touched on before, new content coming out to iRacing in this next build. Surely they're going to spring rain on us soon. I know there's the new Toyota 86 coming up. A couple of new tracks there. I just saw they resurfacing or re-jigging Sebring, which would be good. I find that track absolutely one of the most boring racetracks in the world, but tend to be loved by most series that run, and it'd be good to have it modernised, so they're going to give it a once-over, or they have given it a once-over with iRacing's graphic paintbrush, and it should look brand spanking new for next season, which is good to see. Might rekindle my interest a little bit in that circuit. No real battles back in the pack as Linus, I think, comes into the pits. No, he doesn't. He stays out. I'm still watching this Glenn Boyd trying to have an attack here. Here he goes. So Boyd on Canto, side by side. He squeezes him down towards the chase, and look at that, sideways into the chase they go. Canto hangs it on the inside, says you're not getting through that easy, young man, and holds on to position 6. He goes Boyd though, back at him. He'll have to park this right in the middle of the racetrack, make him pick a side, and they hold position. Good racing. Meanwhile, out in front, they haven't pitted yet. The top, the top 12 drivers yet to stop. So they're going later in this stint. We're now 15.5 minutes into this final race, and nothing in at the top here. Boyd once again P2. It's almost a carbon copy. First race, although Hobbo was out in front, but Wooten once again sitting in third, probably thinking, what can I achieve here if I just be patient, like he did in race 1, got a great win. And with Greg out of the race, we'll bring him in for a chat because we didn't see you go out, Greg, but MX5's Bathurst, good way to finish off the season.
Great way to finish off the season. issue is I didn't take enough fuel.
Oh.
And while I was busy trying to work out how much fuel I needed, these walls bite.
This is not a track where you want to be adjusting fuel or setup.
No, I just found out the hard way. My car's sitting in the pits. I'm just looking at it now, and it's still very second-hand.
Yeah, we're looking now too. Yeah, it looks pretty ordinary. But made good season. Once again, sorry about last week. Work out of control. Couldn't get there. But yeah, it's been a good season. We've around 7 now. And what's in store for next year? What's the go? Just tell viewers that I gave a plug earlier about getting involved, trying to get in this series, and I said you're probably going to be running a couple of nights next year. What's the deal to get involved?
So yeah, look, same as always. If people are keen to get involved, probably the easiest way is to.
Whoa, hang on a second, Greg. Sorry, I'll just hold the phone there for 1 second.
Yeah.
We just had a car, and he's gone back to the pit straight away. Andrew Roberts was just barrel rolling out of Forest Elbow as the leaders came through. So keep talking. We'll just show a replay whilst you're talking here.
Yeah, so if anybody's keen to jump on board, just jump onto Facebook, look us up, the Roadster Rumble Challenge Cup Facebook page, join up there, and keep an eye on the posts, and we'll keep everybody updated with what's going to happen next year. But next year will be a really big year. I think it'll be probably our biggest. Season 8 looks like it'll be our biggest season yet, so really looking forward to it.
Very good. Yeah, we're just watching mate Andrew Roberts, who he was up in the air as the top 3 went underneath him. So that was a bit of a sketchy moment for the leaders. That would have tightened up their shorts.
I'm sure they've got enough to deal with out front without poor old Andrew. But he does. It was Andrew that took out the leaders at Suzuka, you may recall.
I do remember now, yes.
Yeah, he has a bit of track history, Andrew, but look, he's a lovely guy. He is improving, but every now and then, I mean, we all make mistakes. That's what makes it fun about racing.
It's terrifying though when you're in the back, and I've been there, and you're in the back, and you can see the leaders coming up on your relative, and you're trying to think, right, where am I going to be? Where can I get out of the way? And then you have a stack, and it's like, oh no.
Yes, it's and that obviously some of the guys. Shout out to Graham Ellis. We quite often hear him on Discord yelling at himself because he's driving in the mirror, he calls it.
Yep.
Looking behind and not watching where he's going. So yeah, look, it happens. I'm sure that Hobbo, Jack, and Brad and Co are used to dealing with back markers, so that they would have probably got a bit of a giggle out of it. And
what's been your favourite race this season out of the 7?
Look, for me personally, I love Phillip Island. It's my all-time favourite track. Doesn't matter what car I'm in. I just love Phillip Island. And we put up a poll on the weekend I gave people 12 tracks to choose from for next season. Yep. And Phillip Island's number 1.
There you go. Yeah, it's always a favourite.
Yeah, so, look, I don't know what it is. We all, I suppose, just have those tracks that everything seems to click, and, and you're relatively fast and can keep it on the black stuff. So, but this season overall, I mean, I've really enjoyed it. Personally, I've had a few shockers, but I mean, obviously I'm not in it to win or even try and get in people's way. So I'm just happy to get out there and do a couple of races next year, depending on how things go. We're obviously going to have a bit more work on our hands, so I don't know how much racing I'll actually get to next year, but I'll do it whenever I can.
Yeah, we just saw an interesting thing there, mate, where everyone was going to the pit lane in the top 4, and Hobbo at the last second darted back out onto the racetrack, so he's going to stay out while Boyd, Wooten and Glenn Boyd, who has had a fantastic evening. Glenn, what's the story with Glenn tonight? Didn't qualify well, or did he have a penalty hanging over his head?
No, so it's just got down to qualifying, but both Glenn and young Jack, they did the Velo 500 on the weekend in their little Aussie cars.
Right.
So, and it was a scorcher. It's probably, it's the 2 hottest days we've had back to back here for quite some time.
Right.
So I'm sort of thinking that, especially Glenn, he might be struggling just a little bit with fatigue tonight. But
he's driven so well, up 22 spots in the first race. Now he's up 3 more into 5th place. So he's had a mega drive.
Yeah, Glenn never gives up. He'll always keep battling. So he could have been disappointed tonight too. His arch enemy, Wayne Roche, is over in Thailand at the moment.
Right.
So maybe Glenn's just missing Loshy tonight.
Could be, yeah. We're just watching these lead guys battle. This will help Hobson slightly, who stayed out. He's going to probably also have to short fuel here if he wants any chance of coming out in front of these guys, but he'd be hoping this would have happened if he stays out. They have a bit of a battle on their outlap and slow each other down.
The problem that you've got, as I found out in race 1, 4 litres means that you are really cutting it fine. I actually ran out of fuel as I came out of the chase on the last lap. So Hobbo's going to have to be smack on with the fuel.
So what 4 litres will get you how many laps?
So there was 3 laps to go, and we took on the 4 litres.
Yep.
And as I said, I coughed as I come out of the chase. A couple of the other boys actually ran out.
Yeah, they were crawling to the line.
Yeah, so it's going to be tight. If Hobbo tries to fuel, especially depending where he comes out, you don't want to be in the front, because that's what is taking all the fuel. You don't want to be towing everyone else. So.
Yeah, that's right. Well, here he goes. He's in the pits. So he needs a good entry here, which he absolutely attacks. Now gets it down onto the pit limiter. And everyone around him took, 14 seconds worth of fuel for Jack, 12.0 for Brad. Let's see what he takes. It'll be interesting to see if he does gamble the undercut.
Yeah, so
the overcut actually.
Sounds like Jack's gone conservative on the fuel.
Yep.
But it'll be interesting to see what Hobbo does. And remember too, Luke, there's no pit lane. There's no pit lane speed limiters on these cars.
Right. Yeah, you just got to do your best.
Hard. Yeah, first gear flat out is about 52, 53 k's an hour, and the pit lane speed is 50, so it's really hard.
Yeah, well, Hobbo only took 10 seconds worth of fuel, I can tell you right now. He's come out in the lead by 4.3 seconds in the tow of Connors. That's pretty decent with just on probably 3 laps to go.
Yeah, that's going to be tight, unless Hobbo managed to save some fuel. I heard one of the boys saying that the pace up the front wasn't exactly electrifying early in the race.
Yeah.
So it could be that they've fuel saved enough that Hobbo's confident he can make it. But
Glenn Boyd in P6 still has the fastest lap of the race. So it just goes to show those top guys, they weren't wounding it right up. But we're just seeing Hobbo get a little bit balked there by Connors. Now he gets past him. That hasn't helped him. It's knocked about 3 or 4 tenths off his lead to Boyd just in that little sequence of corners alone.
Yeah, this is going to be tight. I think Jack will be fine based on the numbers that you just gave. I think Jack's got enough fuel to go hard to the end. I'm just not sure whether Hobbo will actually have enough. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look also at Brad Wooten, who took that great win in race 1. He's stoked with that. I was saying all along, he's just got to stay there in case something happened with the leaders, and it did, and he took a win. He must be pretty stoked.
Oh yeah, he'd be over the moon, and I don't think he's going to settle for just one tonight. He'll probably look and try and do the double. If Jack gets anywhere near Hobbo, then I'm guessing that Brad will be encouraging them to race hard and try and sneak through. But Moz is pretty close in this pack as well. So
he's closer this race than he was race 1, that's for sure. So whether or not he's done something different, I think it was about 13 or 14 seconds a gap between the top 3 and Moz in race 1. This time he's gone with him. Yeah,
it's and that's going to make it even more interesting, especially if they manage to catch up to Hobbo. But it doesn't look like Hobbo's too worried about fuel at the moment, does it?
Doesn't. It's still 3.2, so we've still got 2 laps to go, and I reckon Boyd is taking about a second out of Hobbo's lead on this lap. So it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, that, and if you consider trying to get past the Roadster for Hobbo, yeah, I think Hobbo's probably got the win it or bin it.
Yeah.
Goggles on.
Yeah. Further back in the pack, I should mention a couple of other drivers too. This is Cody Harrison, and he's been having a good fight with Tyson Gordon lap after lap. I always like seeing down the order when these guys have made good gains. So Tyson 4 spots, Cody 9 spots, Graham Ellis, who's another great driver out there. It's always just giving his best, you know, not always up the front, but he's up 7 spots into 17th. So good to see.
Yeah, Graham actually served a penalty in race 1 as well, so that put him, you know, at the back of the pack. So he's done really well. He's just put his head down and worked his way back through the field, which is really, really good to see. It's it's what we encourage. We all make mistakes, but you know, when you take it on the chin and say, okay, I'll serve my penalty in race 1, and you know, and then try and make my way back. He's done really well.
Now Connor's just dived out of the way of Boyd as Boyd got onto his tail, so I wonder if he's on the pay packet there, Connors. He definitely made much harder for Hobson, that's for sure.
I'll have to ask Anthony afterwards whether how much did Jack pay him?
Or they would say probably that old chestnut of the lead carb, you know, wakes them up, wakes the back markers up, and then everyone else gets a free ride through.
Yeah, poor old Anthony, he jumped the start.
That's what it was.
And then he did his, he went to do his stop-go penalty and then got done for speeding in the pits.
We just saw Wooten slap the wall as well. Brad's just done a lot of damage to his car there.
That's the second time he's done that tonight too.
Okay.
He did that earlier in the race. Moz was reporting that Brad had hit the wall earlier, so that's going to make him vulnerable to Moz now.
Yeah, he hit it so hard, I reckon Moz will probably take him here just with straight line speed alone. Moz's got a great run, and let's jump on board, and here he goes down towards the chase, and look at that, you can see, I reckon that's wiped probably 4 or 5 kph off his top line speed.
Yeah, and that's the problem with these cars. The model is, the damage is quite severe. If you bend a panel, you lose so much top end speed.
Yep. And with a lap to go, we'll get the white flag this time around. Brenton Hobson is looking pretty good. He's going to cross the line with 2.5 seconds to the lead. Has he got enough fuel, considering as Wooten just hit the fence again? I think it was 10 seconds worth of fuel for Hobbo. Boyd took 14. You said he was conservative. 10.4 for Moz and 12 for Brad. So some different fuel numbers there, but I don't think Hobbo, I know he would run it tight, but I don't think he's the sort of guy that would run out of fuel.
No, it's always especially this track, it's always a tough call, because you can get sort of drawn in by the fact that you get a tow up that hill, you don't use as much fuel, but when you're out there on your own, it burns the fuel so much quicker.
Yeah. Glenn Boyd too just jumped up into 5th, so top 5 for Glenn from basically the back of the field at the start of the night. So yeah, he might be dehydrated and stuffed from the weekend's real life racing, but he has turned up tonight and he's raced real well.
Yeah, he's really put it together tonight. So
and a bit about Neville, because he's on debut. He's about to get another top 10 finish on debut tonight. That's pretty decent.
Yeah, so Neville has raced with us a couple of times in our GT4 league. Very clean, very respectful racer, and flicked Damo a message late this afternoon and said, could he jump in? And we sort of said, yeah, like, you know, that's what, especially people we know that, you know, will do the right thing. Happy to, you know, give them a run and let him have a look and see what he thinks for next season. So that's really what it's all about for us. I can tell you that next season we're going back to the 16 cars.
Right.
For season 8. So yeah, we will be running the 16 car again.
Very good. Right. We'll wind this down now. Hobbo's heading on to Conrad for the last time, and he's got himself a 2.5 second gap. So you know what? He picked that pit stop so well. All 4 of them were going into the pits, and he dived back out onto the racetrack. And I'll be interested to see what he has to say about that, because I think that might have paid for his win tonight.
Yeah, that's. I think that will secure second for him in the championship for sure. Jack basically had an unassailable lead going into tonight,
Yep.
So that should see Hobbo secure second. And it looks like, based on where they're finishing in the Roadsters, I would say that Andrew Dutch has pretty much sewed up their Roadster class as well.
There you go. Well, put your hands together because he's just done it. Brenton Hobson, Hobbo 88 takes the win in the final race of the season. Jack Boyd takes P2 and the championship. What a great drive. This kid is incredibly fast. And Moz, a well-deserved P3 in the final race, does edge out Brad Wooten, the winner from race 1, in the top 4. So good racing. And the top Group B driver, as you said, Andrew Dutch, he's been pretty flawless throughout the season too, and he's going to cross the line to take the flag in his final race here. Well done.
Yeah, and it's quite a substantial gap. I think that will lock up second place in the Roadster class for young Henry Fenson as well, which is great to see. So, both those boys have been really consistent throughout the season, and it's good to see them get their rewards for it.
Yeah, Fenson's driven well, so very good, and there's a lot of names out there they've done well tonight. Point out Cody Harrison there, up 11 spots into 12th. Good drive, Cody. And Ray Harrison as well from the back, up 8 spots into 21st. Unfortunately, Neville on debut there has come out 22nd, so something's happened on the final lap there. Whether or not he ran out of fuel, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes, that's quite possible. It's easy to do, as I said, on this track. So, the other thing, Luke, just quickly, we won't be returning until probably mid-January.
Yep.
So if anybody is looking, we'll certainly be doing some fun events between now and then.
Cool.
And obviously the Toyota 86 comes out tomorrow night. So that'll definitely be part of our sort of leagues next season as well.
I think it'll get a thrashing, that car, just personally.
It's apparently it's very similar to the Mazda, so I can't wait to see exactly how it handles on track. It'll be interesting.
It'd be interesting if they could go head to head as well. It'd be nice to see how close they are performance wise.
We will be doing a lot of testing, and it is quite probable that the two of them may end up together next season, so stay tuned.
Very good. Right. There's your Group B results for that final race tonight, with Andrew Dutch taking the win ahead of Fenson and Martindale, your top 3. And Group A, it goes this way. It is Hobson with the win ahead of series champion Jack Boyd and Moz getting a P3 in the final race. So good job. We'll bring him in for a chat. Let's start off. We'll also call the Group Bs. They're eager to get in for a chat, so let's go Group B first of all, and we'll grab him in. So congratulations, Andrew, on the win there, mate, for this final race for Group B.
Thanks, mate. My first race didn't go to plan. Kind of over-fueled myself, and seeing Henry flying past, I thought, oh crap, that's the end. And then, come back well in that second race, and just got a buffer on Henry. It was kept coming at me, and ended up getting a good gap on you. I needed at least one win to see how this championship pans out, mate. So we'll see what happens from here.
Yeah, well done. I think Greg has said you have got the championship, but that'll be confirmed obviously soon.
If that's the case, that's awesome. Thanks to Henry for obviously just constantly pushing throughout the year. It's good, hard, fair racing. It's just, it's been an absolute blast. Thanks to yourself for, the consistent broadcasters. Thanks to Greg, all the admins for putting this fantastic series together. Yeah, it's just a pleasure to be a part of.
No, well driven, mate. And Henry, good driving as well. You've had some really good runs throughout the season, some good gains here and there, and P2 in class tonight for the final race. Mate, just talk us through your season really quickly and any thank yous.
Yeah, like Dutchy said, it's been a really fun season racing him at the front. We've had races where we've been faster than each other, and it's been a nice back and forth battle. It's been a tough season with a couple of races. I just kept making little mistakes and finding myself falling out of Dutchy's toe, and he just leaves with the Group A's and you never see him again. I'd like to thank you and for the stream and everyone who runs the series. It's been awesome. Had a great time. I can't wait for the 86s next season.
Well done. That's our Group B boys. So congratulations, and always good to watch. Can't wait for next season with you guys as well. Let's bring in the top 3 though. So we'll do it in order of who won that final race. And Brenton, mate, talk us through that pit stop, because we saw you all going in line astern, and then all of a sudden you went, hang on, I'm out of here, I'm going for another lap, and that paid dividends.
Yeah. Like I talked about, the only way to really try and pull a gap in these things is to do something in the pit strategy. So I knew I'd saved enough fuel to get an extra lap out of it, and thought I'd go for the old super dummy move into the pits and do an extra lap on everyone else and try and pull a gap. I mean, the stop itself was much shorter, which is really where the time gain was, but it was a good in lap, and yeah, it's all it needed to be, just enough to break that toe. And Jack was flying still at the end, but did just enough. So no, I'm happy with that. Good way to end it all off for the season. It's been great fun, and I love this track and this car and racing in this league. So it was a good fun one tonight.
Fantastic, mate. And Jack, I think you've been crowned the champion. Congratulations, mate. You've been incredible to watch all season long, and Hobbo's just got a little swifty on you in that final one.
Thank you. It's been a great season, to be honest. Really enjoyable. Love racing Hobbo. We just week in and out, we're just banging doors and just having a great time. So thanks to him for coming. I'm sorry for taking him out in the first race tonight. It was a bit of a silly move, but I think it's one of the only times we've really hit all season. So yeah, well done to him, and well done in the second race. He was really fast tonight. So congrats to him, and congrats to everyone else as well.
Well done, mate. And then P3 in that final race. Moz, good job, mate. You were much quicker in race 2 than you were race 1. What was the difference?
The difference was the slipstream, mate. That was the difference.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was just sitting there trying to get get my fuel strategy right, but unfortunately for Brad, he hit one too many walls and he lost a few Ks down the straight.
He sure did.
Yeah, and once you lose a little bit of power in these things, because they haven't got much to start with, I had a crack and it was all over.
Yeah, great to watch. So good job. Let's go through the top 3, do some thank yous, and then I'll let Greg wrap it up for the series champion. So first of all, for the race win in the feature tonight, Brendan, who would you like to thank, man?
The same people that I always thank. I mean, everyone in the team at SSR, because it's a cool bunch and good fun team to be a part of. But more so than that, also, everyone that comes and runs in this series. And Jack, like you said, we've had some great racing this season. It's been good to mix it up with Brad as well this time around, which has been really good fun. And I was glad to see him get a win here tonight, because he deserved one. And obviously to all the people that get behind the league, sponsors and all the admins and everyone involved with making it happen. It's not easy to run a league, and it's a really good bunch here between everyone that runs it and everyone that participates, and of course yourself for all the time and effort that you put in here on the broadcast. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Brenton. Well done, mate. And then Jack, P2 in the race, series champion. Who would you like to thank, mate?
Just to reiterate, thanks admins, yourself for the broadcast. It's awesome that everyone keeps coming back. Like we've got, I think it's the most consistent league I've ever been a part of, to be honest. The fields are always huge. It's great racing. Thanks everyone. I hope everyone has an awesome Christmas and great New Year's, and everyone's back fresh for next year. Thanks, guys. Fantastic.
And then finally, Moz, P3, mate. Who would you like to thank?
Simworx, Palmer's, and the boys, Greg especially. What a lot of people don't see behind the scenes. He's very creative, and he's always thinking of new ideas. So there's a lot of innovation goes into the background to make the next round or the next season better than the last one. And I think that's what's made this series, a great one, and everyone keeps coming back because Greg does the hard yards in the background and always comes up with great ideas.
True words, mate. And Greg, we'll throw it to you, man, to finish up. Well done for another great season. And what's been your highlights? And you can congratulate the champion.
I just want to thank, sure, my name gets thrown out a lot, but guys like Wayne Losh, Damien Seeger, Moz, Anthony Connors, they're the guys that really put in an effort and don't always get the plaudits that I seem to get, but as I keep saying to them, it's not just my league. It's a group thing, and without those guys, this league wouldn't survive. So a big thank you to them. Congratulations to Jack. This league is what it is, a lot due to the fact that Hobbo and Jack have supported us so strongly for the last, however many seasons. It's great to have guys like Andrew Dutch committing to the season as well. He's another guy that I really appreciate. He's committed to the season. He's turned up every week, and he's received his just rewards for putting in a really great season. Same with Henry. Henry's been thereabouts for a long time, and it's really great to see him finally get his reward. But I think more importantly, Luke, the main person, apart from all our sponsors, obviously Simworx, Palmer's, Keith Logan deserves a really big mention. Keith has always supported us where he can. The Walbundry Hotel has jumped in this season and really helped us out with their Driver of the Week award. Without those sort of people helping us in the league, it just doesn't work. But again, more importantly, I think the effort that you've put in and helped us out, and the energy that you bring to the league is what most people really appreciate about what we've got. I mean, the disappointment when life gets in the way and we say to people, hey, look, we're not going to have a broad... It's unreal. I've never seen that before anywhere. So a big congratulations and a big thank you to you for all that you've done for our league. It really is appreciated, probably more than what even you realise, but you have done a fantastic job, mate, and sincerely, just a big thank you for what you've brought to our little Roadster Rumble.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate that, and I'm glad I still sound exciting. I feel very clapped out lately. So.
Well, I don't know if you get time, mate, but if you go and look at the little replay I put up for last week, your job is as safe as houses.
Fantastic. No, it's a good league. I love it. And like I think Jack said, big fields every week is testament to the league that's run right. So you guys do a good job. I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to what happens in the future. And you know what? In the off season, I'm actually hoping I can at least find a bit of time here to bolt my steering wheel back on and come out for a bit of a fang. So I think that might help me find a bit of the love again, which has been missing. So yeah, I look forward to that.
And look, hopefully, mate, if the stars align and things work out, we'd love to have you as racing back with us, whether it's the Toyota 86, the Mazda. I mean, look, I'll even, we can throw up a broadcast while you're racing. It might be time for a few boys to get a bit of revenge.
Legend. All right, well, mate, it's been awesome. Enjoy Christmas, everyone. Enjoy New Year's, and we'll see you in 2023. I can't believe I'm saying 2023 already. But you guys are a bunch of legends.
Yeah, cheers, Luke.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Luke. Thanks, mate. Bye.
All right, cheers, guys. That's it for tonight, and thank you to all of the sponsors and everyone that's tuned in to watch this season number 7 of the Roadster Rumble, run and done. And what a great league it is. We'll be back with you in the new year. One more broadcast to go for 2022. We're doing the Pro Invitational Series on Wednesday night. The production for that, keep an eye out for that. And Hobbo will be racing in that. And then we're done for Christmas. So take care, guys. We'll see you soon. Good night.